The setting for the auditions was the Calvary Church on Earl's Way in Macclesfield. The production team for the opera Victoria's Secret had already spent weeks preparing. It was early December, 3 months before opening night. The team was being led by veteran BBC radio man Nick Smith.
And the idea is that young people and older people as well, who live in this particular part of Macclesfield, can come together and actually work very hard in a medium which perhaps they're not terribly familiar with. So they're clearly going to sing, because it's an opera. We all know the opera ain't over till the fat lady sings. So they're going to sing, they're going to dance, they're going to act. We're going to have to make costumes, they may help with that. We may make some scenery, all sorts of disciplines that are involved in opera. And the idea is that we're going to work very intensively, meaning many times a week, over 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and that will finish with a week of intensive rehearsals, which coincides with half term, fortunately, and then do a couple of performances here.
Each potential candidate was invited to first sing in front of the panel.
You're insecure, don't know what for. You're turning heads when you walk through the door. Don't need makeup to cover up. Being the way that you are is enough. Everyone else in the room can see.
The original idea of putting on a production had come from Chris Davis, the minister at the church, although opera was not the most obvious choice.
My first thought was opera on the Western. You've got to be joking. I can't imagine anybody being interested in opera. But he assured me that it was a musical, not quite so Traviata. And so I thought, okay, well, let's see if we can get the community involved to work together, all the age groups, from teenagers through to 65-year-olds, working together to produce something that they can be proud of.
I heard that you settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. I heard that your dreams came true. Guess she gave you things I didn't give to you. Oh friend, why you so shy? Ain't like you to hold back or hide from the light.
The exciting thing about this is that you're dealing with people who have no preconceptions about what opera is very often. They've never seen one, certainly never taken part in one. So what we're doing really is to use the opera as a sort of vehicle for, some basic things like cooperating, actually forcing yourself to do something that's maybe outside your comfort zone. And very important for me is the commitment. If a rehearsal starts at 6 o'clock, it starts at 6 o'clock, and 3 minutes past doesn't quite cut it, So there are a whole range of disciplines that are involved in doing this, and at the same time we're having quite a lot of fun, I hope.
I've not long moved to the area, so I don't know many people, so it's a chance for me to get to know people and have some fun in a group and do something different, really.
The kids who live in the area of the Western, Moss and Ivy estates aren't necessarily going to be offered the chance to have access to something really exciting like opera, and if they do, they might think, that's not really for me. But the wonderful thing about music and opera is, give it a go. You don't have to always understand it, but it can make you feel great. And if you're immersed in it in a really safe environment, a lot of people here are going to help everybody out, support them through every single stage. You don't know what you don't like till you try it. So it's a really good chance for people who don't normally think this is their thing to give it a go, and who knows where that could lead to.
Some of the candidates, such as Janet Fox, had clearly had prior opera experience. singing, it was time for director Becca Kidd to test out the acting skills of the candidates.
Normally.
At school we like do scenes like where you pretend to like cry or
So do you think you could pretend to give me some bad news?
Okay.
Okay, you're going to tell me without any words. You don't actually
Okay.
get to the point where you say any words. You're going to tell me that you have borrowed what's in your head is you've borrowed my phone and you've broken it. You've dropped it in the bath and it's broken.
Okay.
And it's really expensive and you can't afford to replace it. I've been brought in at the last minute to do a bit of directing this morning and be involved with the audition. I think what my role will be is to work with the blocking and the staging of the singers, because obviously Nick's clear on the music, but I'm here to help with the direction and the blocking and the staging.
And what about the objective for the opera?
I think that if things come out of this, that's a bonus. I see it as a project in its own right. And I think if people come out with a little more self-confidence, able to do something they weren't able to do or didn't think they were able to do beforehand, that's fantastic. But I'm not particularly after any objective except the best performance that any individual can give. That's very important to me.
At the end of the day, it was time to work out who fitted which role and start rehearsals.